The TLDR of it is, I have zero critiques. Literally. This may be the first knife in my collection which I deem almost plausibly, conceivably perfect. What's going on, everybody? How are you doing today? We've got an interesting one to talk about today. Dudes, the knife that we're going to be talking about today is a knife that I first got exposed to back in 2023 at Blade Show by the homie Cue Ball. Cue Ball is an incredible dude with an incredible collection, and he brought several knives to the Kaiser dinner. And I saw this thing and got my hands on it and was just blown away. Since then, I have been searching for it to no avail. There have been ones that have come up for sale here and there, but they were just never in a condition that I was terribly happy with, especially for the price that the people were charging. And so when Cavizo decided to team up with Sharp by Design and release a new version of the Mini Tempest, your boy had to get one. That's what we're talking about today. We are talking about the Mini Tempest. And the TLDR of it is, I have zero critiques. Literally. This may be the first knife in my collection which I deem almost plausibly, conceivably perfect. I've never had a knife that has not been without potential critique, without saying, oh, maybe this could have been done a little bit better, that could have been done a little bit better. So let me show you why I think it's so good. I'm going to switch to the top-down view, and let's take a look at the knife from a design point of view, and I'll tell you why I think it's perfect. All right, so here it is. This is the Cavizo Sharp by Design Mini Tempest, guys, and this thing is beautiful. I mean, to my knowledge, just like every other Sharp by Design production knife, this thing is made by Riot for, Sharp by Design, because it's got all of the same sort of qualities as, say, my Evo Typhoon here. There's the construction, the approach, everything is exactly the same. Even the feel of the fit and finish is exactly the same. I'll talk about that knife in probably another video, but this is the one that I have been searching for all of this time, and specifically this model in the front flipper. So the front flipper, and also the Bowie clip point blade, which I love. I'm a sucker for clip points, but this thing is just spectacular. So why do I think that this knife is particularly perfect? Well, the reality is it's a confluence of a number of factors. One, I think every single element of the ergonomics has been executed beautifully. The size of the finger choil, the transitions are exactly perfect. I mean, really, like you can index, get your fingers where they need to be, and there's no slop, there's no kind of potential for movement or anything. Like you really hold this, even though it's a small knife, and you lock in. You can use the jimping right here and kind of keep it in more of a saber grip, or you can put your thumb right into this curve right here and use it to bear down, which is absolutely phenomenal and beautifully judged. Like, this curvature feels so unbelievably natural. I mean, if you look at it, it matches my thumb perfectly. This thing, it feels like it was designed for me, which is nuts. The pocket clip, placement and height is just incredible. I mean, I literally don't feel the existence of the pocket clip no matter how I shift my grip around, which is an achievement unto itself. Every single part of this knife has been rounded. So there's no sharp edges here whatsoever. Nothing to catch you, nothing to create a hot spot or point of discomfort. I was even sure that this little sharp edge from pictures would possibly catch your finger or somehow create a hot spot, but it doesn't, because the lock bar insert here actually extends a little bit past it. And so you never feel it whatsoever. Like no part of your finger interacts with that. Part of the reason why I chose to go, they offer this in both the front flipper and a traditional sort of flipper, but I chose to go with this one because of how this edge right here is rounded. If you want to choke up, you can actually rest your finger on there, and because of that rounding, that fillet, that curve, it doesn't create a point of discomfort. Every element of this is just so beautifully judged and executed. The front flipper is quite possibly the best front flipper I've ever used. Like, you can use this thing with minimal effort, like absolutely minimal effort, because of the signature Brian Nadeau detent. This thing breaks very nicely and very easily. Really, like, the only reason I would ever fail this is being under the camera like this. Anytime I've got a good grip, I can hold it up here like I'm holding it to the camera, you know, like it's damn near impossible to fail. Any pressure you put on this edge right here just fires it out consistently. Then from like an aesthetic point of view, the lines are just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Every element of it just feels so beautifully judged and just has this excellent design flow. Even the decision for construction is really nice. If you look here, this looks like an integral, but it's not. There's actually a small seam line right down the back here, and it creates this like super minimalistic backspacer element, you know, if you want to call it that. But what that does is allows the knife to have basically 2 screws. That's all you need to disassemble this thing, which is just awesome. You know, the pocket clip that I mentioned earlier is beautifully judged, beautifully shaped and curved, and really, except for some of the thickest pants, it's going to slide in and out very easily. For me, I see this as a gentleman's knife, so you're going to tend to wear this with khakis or suit pants. You're not going to really carry this thing with heavier weight pants. You know, it's not what I would call like a hard use knife, you know. Its cutting geometry is just beautiful, nice, thin, slicey, just wonderful. And even just look at that I believe it's a hand satin. I'm not sure if they mentioned that on the Caviso site. If it is a true hand satin, I'm scrolling through the site right now, but it is, yeah, hand rub satin. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful finish. There's no part of this that I feel is poorly judged, honestly. So really, you have just wonderful ergonomics. You can even get up here and have fine control of the tip, especially when you have bigger hands like mine. It's incredibly comfortable to pinch grip, use to slice anything from your steaks to paper or even cardboard if you're going to use it for that. I personally probably wouldn't use this for slicing up cardboard. It comes in S90V, which is just awesome, you know. I love that they chose to go with S90V. You're just going to get that incredible edge retention out of this blade. And man, I don't know what more I can say to convey that this is a truly flawless knife. And what's awesome for me, from like the design perspective, is that I chose to go with the front flipper for a couple of reasons. One, as I mentioned earlier, this sort of like option to choke up on the knife, you know. When you have the flipper here, that's not really an option. But also, I wasn't sure with the flipper if it would give me the same sort of ergonomic experience just in my regular grip, or would the flipper sort of kind of come into this territory and just give me a little bit like less, I don't know, a little bit less of a comfortable purchase. Because you can see my index finger kind of rolls up towards the middle of this section here. Having said that though, if you don't have ham hock hands like I do, they offer you the option to go with the flipper tab. So what critique can you have? If you hate front flippers, which I'm not a huge fan of front flippers at all, but I'm making an exception for this one just because the Brian Nadeau detent is so phenomenal that it just, you know, made sense along with the ergonomic, you know, sort of qualities that I've already mentioned. So this thing is perfect, guys. I have no qualms with this thing. I mean, blade centering is perfect, detent perfect, pocket clip perfect, ergos, fit, finish, everything. It's just, I don't know that you can do a better small knife than this. And if you guys remember, like I brought out several small knives that I absolutely love. And this thing still is the king of all of these, you know? Like if we go kind of back through this group here, you know, the Null Knives Grace, similar size, you know, a little bit taller vertically, but your grip kind of feels a little bit more cramped in here. It has this sharpening choil that's a little weird. I don't know if it's supposed to allow you to choke up. My fingers are not particularly big enough or small enough to make use of that. And I do think that the floating back spacer could have been done a little bit more dramatically, but doesn't mean that I don't like this knife. It just, like, there are some things in the execution I feel that could have been done a little differently. The Alliance Designs Laconico Easy E, one of my absolute favorites out of the entire group. Absolutely phenomenally judged knife, you know. However, one of the things that does bother me is that it doesn't have a lock bar insert on this one. So really that kind of limits the use case scenario to a little bit of a degree, you know. When you look at the Alliance Designs Kraken, the detent is a little strong, and the finger choil is just a touch large. You know, even for my fingers, it just, sometimes I have a little bit of a problem kind of indexing compared to any of the others. And when you look at the Peñamula, even though it's a phenomenal knife, you know, I would classify it as a little bit more hard use than the Sharp by Design. But when you compare the two, this is actually like feels fairly heavy and fairly beefy. I mean, there is no weight relief in this thing whatsoever. Phenomenal knife, absolutely love it. But this thing trounces them all, and without a doubt is my favorite small knife I own now, which is awesome. I'm very excited to add this to my collection, and these are, without a doubt, in my opinion, the ultimate small knives for guys with larger hands, and this is the crown jewel. So tell me, guys, what do you think about my assessment down in the comments below? Do you agree with me? Do you think that I'm smoking that stuff? What? I personally can honestly say that these are my God honest true feelings about this knife. I think it is that good. And you know, if you guys haven't considered this, really do. I mean, dudes, like the action even out of the box is just, dude, so smooth, so good. And the front flipping action is just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. There's very little for me more to say on this matter, so I hope you guys enjoyed this look at what I consider to be a truly perfect knife. Peace.